Hello everyone. So today I wanted to share my experience about not just doing Jira consultation, but also how to deal with people and also how not to uh, feel bad when it comes to doing the right thing. Now, if you are, let us say, a consultant, you might be a Jira admin, or maybe you are responsible for rolling out Jira, or maybe making changes to your Jira instance, or maybe uh, you are responsible for mapping the processes that your company should follow. For example, maybe you have 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 teams, and they are all supposed to use Jira in a specific way. So basically, you have some guidelines, you have some policies for them, and in those situations, you will be dealing with not just developers. You would be dealing with project managers, you would be dealing with scrum masters, program managers. Basically, you will be dealing with, you should be dealing with people from different roles. And often you would encounter people who would not listen to what you tell them to do. So when it comes to using Jira, personally, I don't really think you should make it too restrictive. I mean, of course, you can configure Jira to let your people follow some kind of a process, but strictly. So maybe your process could be that whenever you release something, you need to have all the stories marked with a specific label. Or let me give you a better example. Maybe whenever you plan to do something in your sprint, maybe you want each and every story to have a fixed version, right? So this is of course just one example. Maybe you don't really want your parent to close until and unless all the stories under it, or basically all the stories under, or all the issues under your epic are closed. So these are, some restrictions that you can basically impose for your teams to follow. But I don't really think you should rely on these restrictions too much. You should basically trust your people. Not always. It depends on the situation. I mean, it depends on the complexity of the work that you're doing. It depends on the bureaucracy. It depends. It might also depend on the compliance or audit. Sometimes you need strictness. So make a decision wisely. But what I wanted to talk about is that you would encounter a lot of situations where people will say to you that you are arrogant, or you are basically uh, not letting us do things freely. For example, when I deal with my clients or organizations I work with, I have to be sometimes a bit direct, sometimes a bit harsh, and this is something which is needed because if you don't really tell them to do something properly, because sometimes people want to solve a problem, like immediate problem, or maybe sometimes they just want to uh, save time, or they are just being lazy, or they just try to take shortcuts. So they will force you. They will probably try to bypass the processes, and you as not just a Jira admin but also as a Jira consultant, uh, you should not hesitate telling them what they should be doing, not only as part of their process but also in Jira. And of course, when you're a consultant, especially if you're like me, who is not really a people person, of course I make videos on YouTube every day, and I do share my experience. I do share uh, my learning, whatever I have to share with all of you. But I don't really think I'm a very people friendly person. I would rather spend all of my time with a laptop and a good internet connection. That would make me very happy. But of course, as part of my job, I have to deal with people, and I'm also learning. To be honest, I'm not really saying that I'm perfect, but one thing which I have learned over the years is that you should not hesitate in doing the right thing. You should not hesitate in telling people that they are wrong. Of course, don't be rude. Be nice to them. But if you are a consultant, or if you are thinking of becoming a consultant, then you will have to deal with people from different roles, and you have to be nice with all of them, but at the same time you have to tell them the right thing to do. If you remember, in one of my previous video I mentioned about issue move. So it happened actually recently. Of course I'll not really share the details, but someone actually was asking somewhere, I'll not share the details, but someone was actually asking that issue move is part of our process, and I was very direct to that person that don't do it, it's not a good practice. And that person didn't really like the way I was being direct to that person. I'll not really say he or she or they, but basically that person. And this is of course based on my experience, because I have been using Jira, helping clients get the most out of Jira instance and solve problems and basically deliver. I think delivering, people actually forget that Jira end of the day is nothing but a tool. You should not deviate from your end goal, which is to deliver. Don't really Jira come in your way of delivery. Sometimes you have to basically do the right thing, but at the same time, if you keep doing the wrong thing over and over again, then it is a problem. For example, if you want to use issue move feature in Jira, yes, use it because it is there for you to use it, only for those rare cases where you made a mistake, where issues were raised in the wrong project and wrong issue type. But if you keep on moving the issue types from one project to another project, then it will mess up your reports. And let me give you a very specific example. So when you move an issue, what happens? Let us say you have a query. Let us say you have a dashboard which is based on project is equal to ABC. The project is equal to Android. Now, one day that project might have 100 issues. And if you move 50 issues from that project to another project, then the next day that query will return 50, right? But if you're using the same, or maybe if you're reporting based on, let us say, epic link or parent link, or maybe if you're reporting using issue keys, then even after moving the issues, your dashboard numbers will still stay the same. Now, one more problem. So this is actually a good thing or maybe a bad thing depending upon how you look at it, because when you move the issue key will change, and issue will store the information somewhere in the history. But one more thing, let us say you move issue from Android project to iOS project, and from iOS project back to or maybe to platform project, from platform back to Android. So if you keep on moving the issues, then it will totally mess up things. And people who are experienced Jira administrators, they would know this. So sometimes you have to basically tell people based on your experience that what you're doing is totally wrong and don't do it. It is okay to do things once in a while, but don't make it as your practice. So coming back to the point, the main point is that if you are a Jira admin, or if you're responsible for making decisions, because a lot of people would rely on the decisions that you make, or I should say the way you configure the tool for them, the way you create standards for them, it will impact a lot of people. It will impact the way people work on a day-to-day basis. So if you know what you're doing, then don't hesitate in doing the right thing. If people are complaining about you being arrogant, too direct, blunt, then of course that is not your problem, that is their problem. So do the right thing. You can never really go wrong by doing the right thing. All right, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed watching this video and you learned something new. Thank you very much. Bye bye.